Are you ready to stop searching outside yourself and deepen the connection that matters the most?
Welcome to the Sacred Exchange Podcast. We are your hosts, John and Catherine Graham.
After years of navigating our own spiritual paths, we have learned that true transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens in the honest and vulnerable moments when we are willing to journey within with a curious mind and heart.
Every week, we invite you to journey with us as we share our spiritual ahas, our raw truth, and deepen our understanding of the human experience.
This is a space of vulnerability and healing, where souls meet, hearts transform, and love leads the way. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sacred Exchange, where this week we're going to be talking about the observer effect and witnessing the divine.
Yeah, when we started talking about what we were going to talk about this week on our podcast, a myriad of different things came up, right? It was like a jackpot of, we could talk about this and we could talk about that. But I think it's important to talk about the observer effect. We as humans observe a lot of things, and sometimes right, sometimes maybe not so right. But to me, we see a lot of observing and judging in the world, where it's like, oh, look at this figure or look at that figure and look at what they're doing. And then we start judging, we start passing our judgment on. And practicing the observer, being the observer in a higher sense, to me, is observing people in whatever situation they're in and trying to bring in that divinity as best you can, right?
Yeah.
It's observing them without your perspective of who they are, what the situation is.
Yeah.
Observing the miracle of who they are and what their experience is versus passing that judgment, they should do this or shouldn't do that, or it should be a certain way.
I think a lot of times we don't realize just how powerful our observations of others can be in how that contributes to how they're living through their reality. Mm-hmm. So if I'm witnessing you, and let's just say I witness you as being a very angry person, right? And then I repeat every time I'm witnessing you, he's such an angry person. He's never going to get over it. He's always overreacting. He's always doing this. I'm literally casting a spell on you that says you cannot outgrow this thing that you are, right? I'm not seeing the divinity. I'm just seeing a wounded part and only believing that the wounded part is all that you are. Where to be in that kind of observer effect, I mean, that still is the observer effect. It's happening, but it's in a more kind of negative way. And to be able to witness you and go, I see that you're angry, and that is a part of who you are. But also I need to look for where is the divinity within you. Because sometimes as us humans, as we're going through these experiences of life, we forget our own divinity. Mm. And if we don't have someone that's reminding us of that, and we don't have someone who's kind of shining a light on, you are still divine. Yes, you can be angry and still divine. Then it can be harder for us to be able to step into that as well.
Yeah, and I think, saying anybody is angry, like that is to me, is very much like a perspective. Mm-hmm. And you now, like you said, you've cast this spell onto this person. They're going to be whatever they're going to be, right? They may not be angry, but you're always going to see them as angry.
Exactly. It doesn't matter how much they change. It does not matter how much they shift. You're always going to see them as that. And it's your perspective, again, that's casting. I almost see it as like putting a cage around a person to go, this is who you are, and you're not allowed to outgrow it.
Yeah, it's that judgment piece, right?
Yeah.
And what I'm suggesting that people do or try to do, and don't get me wrong, it's a practice. So continue to try to observe the people in your life without that judgment.
Yeah.
And just where they're at and see them and see all the good that's in them. See all these pieces.
Yeah.
And show that, if need be, show compassion to whatever needs to have compassion shown to it, but try not to judge where they're at or judge their circumstance.
Yeah.
Everybody has a story.
Yeah.
Everybody has life. Everybody has experienced things. So it's very easy for us to walk up and say, oh, this person shouldn't be this way, without knowing their story at all.
Yeah. Well, and what's amazing too is how often we can still judge even when we know someone's story.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we, as humans, I think judgment is kind of one of our default settings. Not that it's our true essence, but it's a default setting, right? And it's to me, it's to mask up the shame that we carry about ourselves and the way that we've presented ourselves in the world and stuff. And then we use judgment on others, so nobody's looking at us. And we're pointing the finger at everybody else, going, look at how awful they all are.
Yeah.
And that way no one can see that within us. So yes, we can just stop judging others. But I think one of the kind of key ingredients or key first steps is to start looking at ourselves and go, why am I so against someone showing themselves like this? Why am I, if I was judging you for being an angry person, why am I so either afraid of someone who is angry? Why do I think an angry person is an unlovable person? What parts of my anger have I myself neglected or rejected or subdued, or I hate of myself because I expressed that anger? There's so many different angles to look at it, and because it always starts with us, and everybody gets to be a mirror of us, and how much of ourselves do we love by how much are we being loving towards others. It really is an opportunity for us to go within ourselves and go, okay, where do I need a little bit more love around this? And in that, then you can kind of soften that for other people as well.
Yeah, I agree. And that's a great thing about being the observer, right? It's, you can have those little miracles. Like, you can witness somebody when you're observing them, and just you start, especially if you know somebody very intimately, right? You can start putting all these pieces together, and just how great that is to see, all these little connections that have brought you to where you are.
Yeah.
And your mind and how you're thinking of how your thoughts are coming and progressing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. There's an excitement in that.
Yeah, and as soon as we jump in with judgment, that kind of goes by the wayside, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we need to do less judgment and more just observing and...
Yeah. Well, what I think is interesting too, and perhaps it's just me, but I often feel like if I went through this, and perhaps other people have also gone through this, I started, I made an intention in 2008, the New Year's of 2008, to become less judgmental. Okay. And so here we are in 2026. It's 16 years later. And, or 18 years, sorry, bad math there. But, there was so much that I had been judgmental towards without even realizing that it was a judgment, right? Because the ego mind, it's so quick to jump in, and it's so quick to label something or determine something or separate something or categorize something or whatever. And so I wasn't realizing how often I had judgment that was just kicking in and thinking, I know this to be true because this is what my thoughts have labeled this as or whatever.
Yeah.
And I wasn't questioning some parts where I was judgmental towards people. There was some areas that I could obviously see, oh, you've been judgmental in this area and you need to correct it. But the more I have practiced being less judgmental, the more awareness I have of how many judgments I've held.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous amounts.
Yeah, and I don't get us wrong. We still do. We're human.
Yeah.
Right? But it's a practice like putting on your shoes or whatever. We see it, and we'll call ourselves out or call each other out on how, I was the one being judgmental, or sorry for being judgmental. And I think that's us observing. That's part of that observer effect. You become a little more in tune with judgment in
Yeah.
itself.
Well, and I've heard, and I feel like I've experienced, and you can claim this to be true or not, but that the first thought we have is often the programming that we've received throughout life, and then the second part, or the second thought that we have, is either new learned ways of being or new spiritual truths that are coming through. So, talking about judgment, don't judge your first thought. Right?
Yeah.
Because your first thought, if that's going to be the ego that's like, just jumping right in there and going, oh, that's a bad person or whatever. And then the second thought is actually they're a struggling person. Okay, that's the thought to follow.
Yeah.
And the struggling person, that could be a judgment, but it's actually a judgment that's coming from a more loving place, right? There's a little bit more compassion there. And then you might find out, oh, they went through A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then you've got some more compassion for them, you've got love for them and everything like that. Even if you still had that first thought of that's a bad person, then you can shift it and follow a more loving stream.
Your ego jumps in really quickly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about that 1/10,000th of a second, and that's kind of your first thought, is that ego is going to be like, okay,
Yeah.
it's time to respond with this. And sometimes it's recognizable or easy to catch, and other times it's like, oh, it takes some time. And
Yeah. Well, and I think what's interesting to me and amusing to me is being able to observe the ego thoughts in my mind without allowing myself to jump on the train of the thoughts that are coming up, right?
Yeah.
And I know you and I have talked about this quite a few times where we'll be talking and perhaps I'm triggered about something that's happened in my life and you'll give me some spiritual wisdom and I'm like, okay, I get that, but my ego right now is like, I don't want to hear that and F this and screw that and blah, 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 but what if, whatever. And I can observe that my ego is like, it's on a train and it's just like, I'm not jumping off of this. But I also can recognize that kind of separation to go, okay, I know this is my ego. It's when you don't know it's your ego, that's the real, it's a much harder place to kind of navigate.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, and sometimes the response that you want is that resonance receive, right? Like you want, your ego wants to fight.
Yeah.
Your ego wants somebody to be at that same spot, and then there's times where I will do that. I try not to, but there is times that it comes up that way.
See, it's interesting because I don't ever feel like my ego wants to fight, but I do feel like my ego wants to be understood, right? And it will fight anything that isn't being understood.
Egos want to be understood and heard by other egos, right? So if you're being approached from by somebody from a place of divinity, it's like, no, this is not what I ordered.
Don't love me right now.
Don't tell me this. Yes. This is not the way this...
Yeah. Well, and it's so funny, like with the ego, when you have met me with divinity, and I know I've done this with other people too, and where it's like, I'm not dancing with your wound right now.
Yeah.
I can see that this is a wounded part, and I can love on you, even though you've got this wounded part, but I'm not dancing with you. And I've been struck out at because I've come in with divinity, which makes me go, oh, maybe I should hide the divinity piece. But it's like that divinity piece is so needed in the face of the wound, but the wound is like, you're blinding me with that light.
Yeah, see, I think it's always good to like start, but sometimes you have to adjust, right? Mm-hmm. So you start with that, and I would say it's hiding it away. It's like, okay, different approach.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. Okay, different approach. And maybe it's a mixture of the two, and maybe I can like reel you in, or maybe I just need you to let you go. Like,
yeah.
But,
well, I think that's true for everybody, right? It's really understanding what does this wounded part that's showing up, what does it need right now, and sometimes it's just to be heard.
Yeah.
And see, again, it's such a delicate balance because it's like you need to hear it, right? Or you need to understand it, but also don't let it believe that it's the only thing that's correct.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like talking to the kid about the monsters under the bed. I hear you, you're scared, let me help you feel safe. Yeah. But I'm not going to prove to you that monsters are real and under the bed. Like, I'm not going to hire in an actor to get under the bed to scare you just because you've got this part of you that's showing up going, this is too scary.
Yeah.
You know, and it that's where it's such a delicate balance. And the ego, of course, it really does feel unloved, and it really does feel misunderstood and not good enough and whatnot. So anything that is showing up that is different than that, it's really like, oh, you're attacking me. And love doesn't attack, right? But it will feel it as an attack. Yeah, it's great stuff.
And I know, I mix or take spirituality and kind of look at the science part of it.
Yeah.
And I know I was going to talk about the double-slit experiment because this, to me, that's that observer effect, right?
Yeah.
But I just found out there was another experiment done with the observer effect, and I can't repeat it verbatim because I don't really know the whole part of the experiment. But, the double-slit experiment is like this. You shoot these photons through this double slit and they land up on this wall and they line up the way they're supposed to.
Yeah.
But that's when you're observing it. When you're not observing it, it comes through as a wave, and the alignment or the picture on the wall is not these two lines or two sets of dots that are lined up perfectly. They're kind of sporadic all over the place. But now what the gist of the experiment was is they observed it multiple times, and in one of the scenarios or thing was that it actually went through the slit, changed its mind, and almost traveled like it was going back in time before it was through the double slit to perform a certain way. Okay. So when you think about that, and the observer effect is if this, we're just talking about light, we're just talking about protons that are being shot through two slits of paper or whatever.
Yeah.
But you think about that in your ideas and your, just how you are as a human, and everything is flexible or plausible, right? Like, so what you're observing is what you're observing at that moment. It can be something totally different, given a different situation, different perspective, different whatever. Now it's not just dots on the wall. It's a dot over here. It's a dot over there. Or, the dot went through, just like us, we have these ideas of, oh, this is how somebody's going to be. Well, all of a sudden you observe something different than what you normally. Now you're kind of going back in time going, whoa, no, that's not what I thought this person was.
Yeah.
Right? So it's very interesting that how the two, between science and spirituality, really are, I think, very, very similar. And I always look at the two to see what is the same. And
absolutely. And it's I think science and spirituality, they do belong together, right? You're just proving things that no one else can see over and over and over again, right? You have an idea in science that's like, this is my we call it the idea a hypothesis. This is my hypothesis. And in spirituality, it's like, this is my belief. They're two invisible things that we work towards to prove it to be true or not. Which is just interesting.
But I look at it like, really, science is proving this spirituality. Like all the pieces that have always been there.
Yeah.
Science is just reinforcing that no, everything that you thought, you're not going crazy, or you're not this woo-hoo person.
Yeah.
You actually are in tune with your world.
Yeah, absolutely. And just bringing it back to the observer effect, I don't know about you, but I've gone through periods of my life as well where I know when people are watching me, I move differently. or I act differently,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, oh, now I'm in this role, so I have to be this way, or now I'm in the presence of these people, so they expect me to be this way, which may or may not be true,
Yeah.
but it's a belief that I have running in me, so then I just automatically start moving differently because of who I'm being observed by.
Yeah.
So it's this kind of double nuance of the double-slit experiment of when we're observed, when we're not observed. And
well,
really,
it's different points of observation, right? And really that's just reinforces what you just said was, given a different audience or a different measurement or a different device that's measuring it, it performs a different way.
Yeah.
And that just is, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that way, but I think it all goes back to that resonancy too. We want to be seen.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have to, given who's observing us, we do have to change our approach.
Yeah.
So they resonate or we resonate at the same frequency as they do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's so interesting too, because you'll often hear, like celebrities will talk about, when they're out in the world and they've got all these people who are like, oh, you're this major celebrity, and bowing down to them and treating them like these first class citizens and whatever. And then they go home to their wife and their kids and they're like, I just get treated like a regular person, right? Like celebrity status doesn't matter here, and they'll call me out on my shit and la-di-da-di-da. And a lot of them will say that they need that, right? And they crave that kind of humbling and the down to earth and whatnot, because they've been viewed in such a way out here that you have to be this kind of perfect being in the eyes of the camera and whatever, because you're this, where at home they can just almost drop all of those masks that they've been wearing. And I know I've experienced that myself as well. I'm not a celebrity by any means, but being in a spiritual space and working in a spiritual space, there's not really a whole lot of room for my ego to be able to express itself when I'm doing work or anything like that. And I know I've said many times where it's like I don't really have a break from my work. Yeah. It's a daily thing. It's an hourly thing. It's a minute thing. I'm always working, but it's because I have to work on myself. If I'm going to lead others, I have to work on myself. And then at times you're the one who gets to experience the ego part that needs to have a voice sometimes.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think
absolutely.
It goes back to conversations we've had in the past on our podcast about that harmonization with the ego and knowing, letting the ego have its voice.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think in the past, I was so, and I think we all go through this, I was so terrified of people seeing that kind of shadow part of me, right? Where it's not quote unquote perfect, where it's not spiritual, where it's not all love and light all of the time. And I was actually just speaking to a friend this week who was saying like she would not go to anybody who's not emotionally stable to give her life advice. Fair enough. I understand that. I don't want to go to people who don't have as open of a mind as me and get advice from them. But at the same time, I'm like, am I always emotionally stable? I'm not.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's my humanness that comes through, and yet I still know enough about life that I can guide people. So it's an interesting balance.
Yeah, and you said something there that I found very interesting was that, I wouldn't go to somebody that's unstable for advice. It's up to you to what you do with that advice, right? I have no problems taking advice from anybody.
Yeah.
Sure, let me hear your ideas. Am I going to act on that? Well, that's depends on what the situation is and what the experience is, right? So, I mean, really,
I guess, advice can stop at the door, right?
It's on us to go, okay, you don't like red. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I like red. You can tell me all day that you don't like red, and you can tell me how I shouldn't like red. I'm still going to like red.
Yeah. I guess maybe the more sovereign you are in your own being, then it doesn't matter where you're getting advice from. You're only taking action on the stuff that's actually aligned with you. That's a good point.
And think about it this way is sometimes those people that are wanting to give that is love.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, somebody that's emotionally unstable giving advice, they're just trying to help.
Yeah.
You don't have to be so blatant to say, no, you know what? I'm not listening to you. I don't trust you. I don't trust your advice because you're not emotionally stable. You could just be like, yeah, this is great. You're seeing me and
Yeah.
you're trying to help me.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's actually bringing me to another part too. It was funny because when I went to say that, I was like, I don't even know why I'm bringing this up, but where a lot of people will think that if you're a spiritual person or you're a godly person or whatever, that life suddenly just gets like this kind of flat line, peak point, like life is good now. You're a spiritual person, you've got life figured out, everything is bliss. And it's like, no, actually, I'm a spiritual person because life is going up and down. And I've had to find different ways to navigate these ups and downs of life. And it doesn't stop the ups and downs from happening. I just have a new way of being able to navigate them.
Yeah, I think we practice trying to show that temperaments, I guess, or whatever, so like life is just like water, right? And we've mentioned this before, it's just water is just watering and weather is just weathering. Life is just life. Mm-hmm. Life is just doing what it needs to do. The story's being told, the journey's playing out. And I think our approach more is having the grace to just go, okay,
Yeah.
I don't need to take this personal. I don't need to, this is just happening in this moment right now.
Yeah.
And in another moment, it'll be something else.
Yeah.
I don't have to, break down, or I don't have to get upset. I don't have to. It just is what it is at this moment.
Yeah.
And then in looking into those deeper than just that, but really it is not taking it as serious as we had in the past, where it was like, oh, this is a make or break and I'm going to get upset. But it's just like,
yeah.
And people live that way.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I've been stretching my mind and stretching my heart, my belief systems, with reading A Course in Miracles, mm-hmm. where it's been saying, anything that you're experiencing in life that you're not going, this is a miracle, means that there's a split mind and there's a conflict where the ego is going, what I want is more preferred than the divine plan. And so I'm not living my life as though every single day is a miracle, or that every single second is a miracle, or every single observation, conversation, whatever is a miracle. I know I'm not doing that. And this is where I'm like, okay, this is what I've got to start stretching. Because this is all a miracle. Like theoretically, last week we were talking about embodiment. Yeah. So theoretically, I know this to be true, that this is all a miracle and everything we're experiencing is a miracle. But to experience it as a miracle and experience the joy of the miracle and observe the miracle in everything that's happening, that's where I am trying to grow right now.
Yeah, I think it's one thing we can acknowledge it, right? Like, life is a miracle.
Yes.
I mean, people look for these big, grandiose gestures of winning the lottery or whatever. The fact that you get out of bed, the fact that you breathe, this perfect machine, these, like, all of this dynamic that forms this planet is so miraculous.
Absolutely.
And we just take it for granted. We just kind of move on, right? But I think you're saying about stretching and whatnot, it's like that mindfulness piece. It's like looking at a certain situation and really giving it its due.
Yeah.
In every, I know we don't do it in everything we see, and that's part of
that's the stretching there, right?
Right.
Is going, can I see this?
Can I live every day giving everything, every piece that it deserves in the miracle that it is?
Yeah. And I know we've got a whiteboard and we write different thoughts and stuff on it when we're having conversations, or a quote in a book that we've been reading or whatever. And on there, it does say, let me be the witness of divinity. Yeah. And so as I think about stretching this idea of, can I experience every moment as being miraculous, it really comes back to, let me be the witness of divinity in others when I'm observing them, but also in every present moment or every moment that I'm in. Can I witness the divinity that's unfolding? And can I remember to see the divinity? Because it's so easy to have the resistance to things that are coming up and going, this is not how it was supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, especially in a non-preferable situation, it really will test you to see the divinity, to see that there is purpose in everything that is done.
Yeah.
And in staying that course and not giving up to go, oh, see, now everything's gone to shit. And now I'm getting off this boat and I'm going to do something else.
Yeah. Well, what's been so interesting, and I know I've been talking a lot about A Course in Miracles for a few months now, but I'm still working through it. And one of the things that I've recently read to go along with this idea of like everything is a miracle is even having the idea of a non-preferred reality means that you're going against your own divine will and God's will. And that to me was also another like, right, all of these kind of nuances or all of these non-preferred things that we have show up, or these emotions, these judgments and stuff, they're just showing us where we've been separated from God, from the divine. And it's all an opportunity or an invitation for us to move back into the divine. But most of us don't choose it, right? We choose this identity or this preferred reality and go, this is what I really want. And it's like, if you could just let that go, just long enough and just to see and experience what's over here. And I say this to myself to remind myself, because I know I keep choosing this, even though I really want this, or I tell myself I really want this, but if I did, I would just shift over here, you know?
Yeah, it is, and it's a great thing, is like to think that your non-preferred reality still has purpose, right? It's still, and you have to love that and be okay with that and see the divinity in those things. Well,
and I question, you know, when you've got this kind of desire for a reality and you're like, this is what I want, and then this is what's happening over here, and you're going, that is not preferred, this is what I want. It's like, what part of me is so identified with this reality that I want as being the only good path that I cannot accept this divine path that's showing up? Right? Like, what part of me have I almost become too attached to? Or I thought I can only become this via this means, instead of allowing myself to experience it this way, that it's going to come instead.
And I would question this as well, is how many times or how many people want this reality, right? They want this preferred situation scenario. And as you were saying, but this comes up. And this, to me, is kind of like that. This is the test, right? You want this, you have to go through this first. And you're going to have to go through this. And it's there. We've aligned this for you, but you have to go through this journey.
Well, it's like a refining.
Are you willing to take this journey?
Yes. It's like a refinement, right? Of, oh, so you haven't been too patient, and this thing that you're trying to move towards requires patience. So we have to delay it a little bit so you can embody more of your patience. And then we typically throw temper tantrums and we're like, I don't want to embody more patience, I want this thing already. Like, it's hilarious just how it's not really that we get angry, but like, we do throw temper tantrums as humans about what we prefer, what we want, what we desire, and when we don't get it, we're just like,
well, it's our ego wants, right? It's a consumer. Just wants all of these things.
And I think there's times as well that we don't recognize the things that we have to let go of in order to get to that kind of whatever that preferred reality is that we have, these dreams that we have them for a reason. Because like, if that spark comes into you and it goes, I want this, it's because the divine already has a plan figured out that's going to bring you this thing that you want. But there's going to be a loss of some sort. And sometimes it's a loss of identity. Because if you're not there right now, there's something that needs to shift in order for you to get there.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a loss of identity, it's a loss of belief systems, it's a loss of limitations. Sometimes it's a loss of people. Sometimes it's a loss of your house or your job or whatever it might be. You're going to have to be willing to grieve who you are in this moment if you want to get to this future version of you.
Yeah, and I see it a little bit different.
Okay.
Not that you're right, but I'm more like that go with the flow, right?
Yeah.
Where it's try not to look at those things and hold on to them too tight. It is, this just needs to be change.
Yeah.
And you're not losing anything.
Yeah. Well,
You're not, like it's not a bad thing.
well, exactly.
And you hear people, they want peace, right?
Yeah.
And this everybody wants peace. But what are we willing to do?
Yeah.
Are we collectively willing to go and say, everything that happens, I just take it as it happens. I'm not taking it personal.
Yeah.
I have no attachment to what this is. Whatever happens is just going to be the way it is, and that's okay. And I see that as the best way to go forward. Because, ideally, if we, as a society, could do that, I'm sure we could have peace.
Yeah.
But as soon as one person goes, yeah, but I want this,
Yeah.
and I don't like this, that's when things start to fall apart.
Absolutely. It's the same like with people who are calling in a loving relationship, right? And when they're thinking of a loving relationship, they're often thinking of how can I be loved the most in a relationship. They're not asking themselves, what can I do to create the most loving relationship with anybody, right? Because I do have a solid belief that we can actually create a loving relationship with anybody if we're willing to let go of all of the parts of our own identity and just love on others. And it's so funny because I know a lot of people are like, well, I don't really want to let go of who I am in order to love others. And yet, isn't that what we all do?
To really get to peace, that's what we have to do,
Yes.
right? We have to look at our neighbors, not just our loved ones, and not just our neighbors, complete strangers, with the same admiration as we do maybe ourselves or even like God or whatever.
Yes.
Like we cannot look at them any differently and expect peace to be available.
Right? It's almost like find the person that you've got the greatest conflict with and love them.
Yeah.
If you want to find peace, love the person you've got the greatest conflict with. And most people will go, well, I don't actually want peace that much.
Yeah.
And I understand the resistance to that, especially when there's been a lot of pain that's been experienced through that relationship or in that dynamic.
That's what I challenge these things. It's like, you have a tough situation. Okay, what is it? And keep digging into that. And you will find that there's, maybe it's not love for you in that moment or in that instance of whatever the situation is, but there is a love component in there that there's why this is done the way it was done or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a thrilling ride, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. And, another thing about, observing things and people is that, there's a faith piece to this as well, right? Saying that because, like, we have to have faith that, we don't have to.
It's an invitation to have faith.
Right. It is. And there's nothing wrong with not having faith. But when things go bad, if you're praying, okay, you can, to me, I would rather, see people silently practice their faith rather than denounce faith. Right? Like, you don't have to be the person that comes out and prays and all this kind of stuff. But inside you're, you know what? I trust that there's more to this. And be okay with that and move forward. I do have some issues with, people that pray or go to church at the end of the week and all their sins are forgiven and they can do whatever they want. You know, I think that your mind should match your actions and continue to have faith and just stay nice and level. Don't, you know, when you're down, you're praying, and then all of a sudden, you know, that stress or that pain or whatever is gone.
Yeah.
You're back to doing things the way you were doing them before. And it's like, if we, you know, stop looking for the cookie, stop looking for the reward if you're good.
Yeah.
And just stay your course. Don't, you know, look at it as like, oh, if I do this, this is what I get. No, just have faith. I don't care what faith you have, whatever religion, whatever belief.
Yeah.
But
it's like a consistency.
Just stay consistent and, you know, don't give up. Don't give up hope that there is purpose, there is reasoning.
Yeah. And like, I can honestly say that I have been one of those people that you have a problem with.
Well, I think
in the sense,
I've been one of those people
yes.
I've had a problem with.
Yes, fair enough. In the sense that there is a lot of time, and this is like where, again, that ego and that kind of spiritual ego that kicks in that nobody really focuses on. But when I first learned about manifesting and creating the life that I wanted and everything like that, like my ego just loved that idea of like, I'm the creator of my life, I'm going to manifest what I want and stuff. And I would work towards these things and I'd hold the vision, I'd have my vision boards and I'd focus on manifesting it and stuff, and I'd get it. Yeah. And I'd be like so excited. I'm like, look at how powerful of a manifester I am. I created this, whatever. And also, I would have visions of things and try and manifest things and struggle with trying to get to those things. And then I'd be like, God, what else do I have to do? And why aren't you allowing me to have this? And da-da-da. And so it was just like this kind of duality within me that would take ownership when I got what I wanted and would blame God when I did not get what I wanted. And I, like, it's kind of disgusting. Like, really, when I think of it now, I'm like, how could I not see that at the time? I couldn't see it because I couldn't see it. I was too thick in it. I was never asking God, how can I serve you? I was never asking God, how can I, receiving this, actually serve more people? Mm. Do you know what I mean? It was very self-serving. It was very selfish. It was very greedy. It was very like narrow kind of focus. And how easily I would give up and get pissed off and give the finger, whatever, when things didn't go in my preferred reality. And I just go like, fuck it. I'm not doing manifesting anymore. I won't do a vision board anymore. I won't believe in my greatest, like, and it's so self-deprecating too, right? Like, it's like ruin everything because you didn't get your way this day, you know, instead of holding on to that faith. And it's something I had to learn, again, stretching. I had to learn how to stretch that.
Yeah. And I look at it in a little bit of a different way, because it's like, okay, I want something or whatever, I'll put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever, I'll just continue on the way things are. It's there.
Yeah.
And, you know, oh, I want this. Okay, this can't happen right now. Or, okay, put it on the shelf. And at some point, I know those things they'll come back.
Yeah.
They're still there. And I still believe that they're going to happen. I still have faith that there's a reason this came up.
Yeah.
Just not right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, it's interesting because, like, this is where we've got a little bit of difference in our humanity, in that you are someone who is so patient and can put things on the shelf and go, I know this is going to come. And I'm the kind of person who will write myself a to-do list of 100 actions that I should take to help me get a little bit closer. And I have no idea what action I'm going to take that's actually going to bring that thing in, but I will give myself all these action things. And like, I'm checking the shelf daily. Like, are you still there? Are you coming closer? Can I hold on to you yet or whatever? Because I've even realized with myself, if I don't have a vision, I crumble. right? Like I have to have something that I'm moving towards, or I desire to have something that I'm moving towards. I think I'm getting a little bit more lenient on that now, or a little bit more open-minded as to what that's going to look like or whatnot. But I really haven't mastered the idea of setting it on a shelf and just walking away and not checking on it again. Like that's difficult.
It is, but it's. I was just gonna say it's not easy, but it's like this. It's like, okay, I do want this, or I want this to be my reality. I'm gonna put this here.
Yeah.
Do I know how to get there? Do I know how this is gonna happen? No. So I'm gonna surrender to life as to. It's going to guide me to that. If that's really meant to be, I may want this. That could be my ego that wants it. But if this is really necessary, it's going to stay there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to find life is going to lead me to that thing.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because as you're saying that, I just had a goal reached a couple weeks ago. Something that I would say I silently planted a seed for back in 2022. And so we're 4 years later, and I was asked to be a part of a support team for things. And it was something that I had wanted to do for 4 years. And it is one of those things that I think I put on the shelf and I said, I want that. And then I was focused on doing all of these other things, and then it kind of came in. And I could go, yes, I did devote a lot of hours to becoming that. But I wasn't actually consciously aware.
But you never lost faith in it. Right.
I just kept the hope.
You never lost faith in, you put that on the shelf.
Yeah.
But in what was that support, you never lost faith in it. You never really directed any attention to it, but you went, I'm going to do all of these things. I know this is still there, and it came, right? And the same with like...
It's so interesting to experience that and be able to see it, right? Okay, I was able to do that too, because one of the things, sorry for interrupting, but one of the things that I've struggled with in observing you and the way you put it on a shelf and are like, this is just going to come.
But it's not right now.
I'm like, just take some action on it. Like, you need to do something. Like, you can't expect them to do it all. You have to do something. And like, literally, I didn't actually have to do anything for this thing to come forward, although I took many steps.
Well, and that's the great thing, right? Is I am taking that action based off of what is calling me.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like love. You know, people say, you know, if you want love, don't look for it. Get busy doing other things.
Yeah.
And we know it does happen that way.
Yeah.
You're just busy lifing, doing your whatever, and all of a sudden, boom, this person shows up, and it's like, wow, but you still had faith that piece was there. You may have given up. You may have resigned yourself that I'm just going to continue on. I still have this love piece. I still want to be in love.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to continue my life. And then all of a sudden...
Here I am.
Well, it's not like you wrote down the list of how to get there. Life led you to that point.
I see.
Like...
This is the funny thing, is how many times I've made lists about how to get there. Like, I'm not one of those people who have just set shelves aside and went, okay, I'll just do my thing and I'll get there. Like, I literally have made lists after lists.
Do you trust divinity?
I absolutely do.
So then, wouldn't that be, like, that's kind of what I'm saying is, okay, I don't know how to do this, but you do.
Yes, and see, this is where...
I will follow.
Yes.
But, let's go. Let's do what we need to do.
This is where I go, I don't know how to get there. This is what I do know. These are the things, and it's like my commitment to myself. These are the actions I'm going to take. This is what I know to focus on. I don't know how to do this part. And we did that when we were trying to get pregnant with our youngest, right? Like, this is the things we know to do to get pregnant, but we can't actually make sperm meet egg to create a viable baby. Right? And to bring it back to observer effect, I had to observe us as actually being parents. I had to believe in it, and this is where I really struggled, being able to see us as being parents, even though we had 6 kids, but it was like...
But that's not... I don't want to say it's the lack of faith, but it's kind of the lack of faith.
Oh, it was absolutely a lack of faith. If you can't see the possibility, or you can't see it actually coming into fruition, or how it's going to come into fruition, there is a lack of faith that's there, right? You have to be able to see it as possible to be able to know that it is going to come forward.
Yeah.
And you were the one that was like, you just gotta have faith, babe. You gotta have faith. You gotta have faith. And I was like, I've got the desire. I have no faith that it's gonna happen, but I have the desire. So, yeah, but I mean, you had to observe the faith, right? And yeah. I had to observe the desire of it.
Yeah, the thing that I would say with like writing out the steps and this is what we know, the thing that I think it kind of affected me was that how much of that, so now I've written these things down and I don't know how to get there, but this is what I do know. Am I like putting a blocker up to something that maybe I know these things, or I'd say I know these things. Now, am I guiding myself in the wrong direction because I know these things, or I think I know these things?
Well, I mean, that could be true. And but to me, I've always kind of left it open to this or something better, right? So when I went to do the Camino, I was like, I need to learn reflexology to do the Camino. And I took the course and I did some study hours and stuff. I never got certified in it.
Yeah.
I never completed that step, but I still did the Camino, right? And the funny thing is the reflexology course gave me one piece of information that I've used over and over and over again with so many people, but I've never done anything with the reflexology. Yeah. So was it a piece that was needed for the Camino? Was it just something that they were like, hey, this is another soul calling that you also need to follow, right? Because when I'm getting the hows or like what I want or a clearer picture of it, sometimes I'm not even sure where the stuff is coming from.
Yeah.
Why do I need to take reflexology? When I was calling in my soulmate, talking about calling in love, I was writing things down like, must want to go to an art gallery with me. I'd never stepped foot in an art gallery before in my life, so why does that even matter? But it was on the list.
Yeah.
And who's an artist? You create art. You've been in an art gallery before. We've gone to art galleries now. I love art now, but it was not something that I was actively pursuing at that time. So is it my ego that created that, or is that the divine going, this is going to be a key piece, right? And can I say yes to that? Can I write it on the list even though I don't know why or how, right? So it's observing the divinity coming through you as well. Where for me, it's more of a mental exercise, right? It is, I'm not creating a list, I'm following whatever is coming up. Yeah.
But you're always checking in, is this, it's still on the shelf. Okay, that's fine. Okay, this doesn't seem like we're getting closer, but okay, I trust that there's purpose to this that will get me to the here.
Yeah. It's so interesting because as we're both talking about it, like I can see how we're both right. Right? Like
it's just a different experience.
And
right?
I feel like the way I do it is like a very feminine kind of let me feel into this, let me get whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I'm writing the list, which is kind of my masculine structure, bringing it in. And you're going mentally, okay, what do I need to focus on? And it's a very like masculine, let me shift this external and I'll keep checking in here. And that's the feminine that's doing the check-in. And so we're kind of mirroring each other, just
and I'm
playing the different roles.
Trying to not put blockers up to any other possibilities, right?
Absolutely.
Where it's like, okay, yes, I know that this is what I wanted, but that may not be the greatest thing that I will experience in my life.
Yeah.
So I don't want to just have this list of, okay, I got to do X, Y, and Z to get here because I could miss all of this other stuff that I didn't realize was so amazing.
Yeah. So. No, I agree with that too. When I'm making my lists and stuff, I don't feel like I'm blocking anything out. Because for me, like, remember when I used to do the 100 possibilities list?
Yeah.
To me, it's like I'm just creating more possibilities. I'm opening my mind to what else is possible. Because again, to bring it back to the observer effect, if I can't see what's possible, right, will I still see it? And sometimes we have to get to the next step to see more possibilities come in. Just like sometimes we need to witness something new in someone to have more possibilities come in for them. Like when we have a newborn baby, right? We're seeing the possibility that this child is going to become whatever when they're older. But right now we're just observing them as this perfect little being. When they're 2 and they start talking about they want to go to outer space or whatever, then you start holding this possibility they might be an astronaut, and we buy them the rocket ships and show them the stars and whatever. But when they're 5 and they start talking about how they want to be a cook, do you know what I mean? Like, and not one thing that they say or list that they're creating for themselves is holding them to that exact.
Yeah.
They just get to keep becoming who they are, right? And we can do that with ourselves, and we can do that with other people as well, is to just observe them as they're becoming.
Yeah, absolutely. Take it one day at a time, and be present, right? Be present in that moment.
Yes.
You know, observe what is now, not I'm observing this person, but I still have this predisposition of what they were because of an experience 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Be in the now and observe from the now, not from the past.
Yeah. And I understand how difficult that can be sometimes, right? Like, you've got the narrator that's like,
yeah,
and now they're going to blah, blah, blah.
Practice.
Yes.
Practice.
Yeah.
And don't lose your faith. I mean, it's so easy, right? To, you know, if we don't get what we want, to go, whatever, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
You know, always, you know, it's fine to get upset, but just remind yourself, you know, I trust there's more to this.
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable right now, but what is it that I'm uncomfortable about?
Yeah.
Don't just cast off, nope, I'm just going to give up on this. Just show compassion for that.
Yeah.
And keep your faith.
Yeah. Well, and one more piece I'm going to add to that is, I used to believe that if I was upset about whatever didn't happen, that part of me shouldn't be really witnessed by a lot of people, right? Like, it's my
Obviously,
secret upset.
It's you that are the problem.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even take my upset to God or to the universe and go, like, I need you to hold this. Like, this is so heavy for me. I need you to hold this. And that's essentially what God and the universe is there for, right? When this human experience gets too hard for us to turn to them and go, like, help me see a different way and hold on to this pain. Let me bring you this pain. They're not feeling the pain the same way that we do. And so they're willing to just take it, right? They're willing to love you through all of that. And yet I would always kind of turn away from it and go, I've got to figure this out before I can come back and show myself to you or whatever. But what I'm learning now is, like, I'm just loved in whatever state I'm in, you know. And I showed you that video on TikTok the other day with the corn singer. Was it the singer?
Yeah.
Okay. And his journey to God or to Jesus Christ, really. And how he thought he had to be perfect before he could go into the church and, like, not be an addict or anything. And the minister had shown up and said, if you're an addict, come with your mess. Yeah. God wants you in your mess, and God will love you in your mess, right? And it just reiterates that to me, that we can show up in whatever state we're in to meet God, to meet the universe, whatever you want to call it. They will accept you as you are, that it's okay. You know, release it to them to keep that faith piece going.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think we close off the faith because we're like, I'm in too much pain now. Faith isn't helping me. But really, faith will help you if you go, they will take it for me.
It is part of that surrendering. Is surrender that piece. You don't own it.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Let it do what it needs to do and breathe. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, nice centering breath, everybody. Thank you for joining us here again for another episode of The Sacred Exchange. As always, if you have any questions, comments, if there's any topics that you're wanting us to talk about, drop it in the comments below. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, don't forget to like, subscribe, give us a big thumbs up. I haven't seen very many big thumbs up. I know you don't like them, but I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if there's anything that you guys would like us to talk about, or even if you would like to come on and have a discussion with us, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
It's just an invitation to build that community stronger and enlighten ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are also now on Instagram and on Facebook, on TikTok and on Spotify and YouTube, where you might be watching us now. It's all under the Sacred Exchange. So take a look and follow us. Have a great day, everyone.
Take care, folks.